My dad had a secret family for years. I exposed him at his own anniversary party, and he lost everything. All right. So I never thought I'd be one of those people posting here, but my life basically turned into a soap opera, and I need to tell someone. This story isn't just about betrayal. It's about how I took my father's entire double life and burned it to the ground in the most public way possible. So, let me start from the beginning. My dad has always been distant. Not cold or cruel or anything, just not there half the time. He worked a lot, or at least that's what he said. Long business trips, late-night meetings, random emergencies at work that pulled him away from family dinners. I never really questioned it growing up. It was just normal to me. But then, I started noticing weird little things. Like, for example, my dad had this other phone. I don't mean his work phone. I knew what that looked like. This one was older, like something from 5 years ago, and he always kept it in his car. One day, I was borrowing his car to grab something from the store, and I saw the phone just sitting there on the passenger seat, unlocked. It had a bunch of notifications popping up, all from someone named Jay. I swear I wasn't trying to snoop. But you see a phone blowing up with messages, you look. And when I did, yeah, I felt my stomach drop. The messages were all from some woman saying things like, "The boys miss you. When are you coming home? Don't forget, soccer game this Saturday. You promised. Love you, Redheart." Excuse me? The boys. Now, I don't have brothers. I have no idea who the hell she's talking about. My first thought was maybe she was a coworker, and the boys meant, like, her kids or something. Maybe my dad was just close to her family? I know. Denial. I should have just put the phone down and walked away, but my hands were already moving before I could stop myself. I opened the conversation, scrolled up a bit, and my worst fears were confirmed. There were photos. Lots of photos. Pictures of my dad at what looked like another house, playing with 2 little boys, one of them no older than maybe 6. In one picture, the younger one was sitting on his shoulders, grinning like he had the best dad in the world. In another, my dad was at a school event, sitting next to the woman who had been messaging him. It wasn't just some coworker. It was a whole second family. I sat there in the car, staring at the screen like an idiot. My mind was racing, trying to come up with some other explanation, any explanation. But there wasn't one. My dad had a second life, a second woman, and 2 whole-ass kids he'd been hiding from me and my mom. And the worst part? They didn't even know we existed. At that moment, I had 2 choices. I could either pretend I never saw this and let my dad keep getting away with it, or I could end his little charade in the worst way possible. Spoiler alert, I chose violence. So, after I found those messages, I just sat in my dad's car for a solid 10 minutes, staring at the screen like a total idiot. My brain was glitching. Like, how the hell do you even process something like that? I had gone from running to the store to finding out my dad is leading a double life in under 5 minutes. I was shaking, partly because I was pissed, partly because I was in absolute shock. Now, I could have just confronted him right away, could have marched inside, thrown his phone on the table, and gone full nuclear. But I stopped myself. I needed to know everything first. So, I took a deep breath, put his phone back exactly how I found it, and acted normal. At least, as normal as I could while knowing my dad had 2 freaking kids I'd never met. First, I went full FBI mode and checked his social media. Nothing suspicious. His accounts were all too clean, actually. No tags, no random women commenting on his posts, nothing. Then, I thought, if he has a second family, he probably has a second Facebook account. So, I did something bold. I typed his name into the search bar. And boom, there it was. A whole separate profile. Different profile picture, different friends list. And right there in his photos, the woman from the texts. Her name was Julia. She looked way younger than my mom. Like, early 30s. And the kids? The kids looked just like my dad. But here's the kicker. Julia's bio said she was engaged. Engaged. To my dad. I wanted to throw up. That night, I started digging. By now, I was spiraling. I kept scrolling through her profile, and it got so much worse. She posted pictures of family trips, the same weekends my dad was supposedly on business trips. She called him the love of her life, while my actual mom sat at home waiting for him. She had pictures of my dad with their kids at school events, while I couldn't even get him to show up to one of my soccer games growing up. I can't even describe how much my blood was boiling at this point. This wasn't just some random affair. This was an entire second life. The worst part? She had no idea about me or my mom. She genuinely thought she was in a normal relationship. So, I made a decision right then and there. I wasn't just going to expose him. I was going to burn his entire world to the ground. I knew I couldn't do this alone, so I had to tell someone. And there was only one person who deserved to know even more than me, my mom. The next day, I sat her down, showed her everything, and braced myself for the explosion. Except she didn't explode. She just stared at my phone screen, silent. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't say anything for a solid minute. Then she whispered, "I knew it." I was like, "What?" Turns out, my mom had suspected something for years. The late-night meetings, the constant travel, the way he never let her touch his phone. She never had proof, though, and every time she questioned him, he made her feel crazy. That's when she looked me dead in the eye and said, "I don't want to just leave him. I want to make him pay." And that's when I realized I was my mother's child. Revenge wasn't just an option. It was a necessity. After that conversation with my mom, everything changed. It wasn't just my mission to destroy my dad anymore. It was our mission. My mom, the woman who had spent nearly 2 decades being lied to, cheated on, and made to feel like a fool, was finally ready to do something about it. And let me tell you, when a woman like that decides to take revenge, it's over. We sat in the kitchen that night, whispering back and forth like co-conspirators. My mom was eerily calm, which was both impressive and terrifying. "If we just confront him," she said, "he'll find a way to lie his way out of it. He always does." She was right. My dad was a master manipulator. He could cry on cue, turn any accusation around, make you feel like the bad guy even when you had proof. No, a simple confrontation wouldn't be enough. We needed a spectacle. We needed something public, something unforgettable. That's when I told her about his upcoming wedding anniversary party. See, my dad was planning this big celebration for my parents' 20th anniversary. We were supposed to invite all the relatives, family friends, the whole deal. And guess what? That same weekend, he had also promised Julia, his other fiancée, a romantic getaway with her and the kids. So, I had an idea. What if we made sure both of his families showed up to the same event? My mom's eyes lit up like a kid on Christmas. "We're going to ruin him," she said. And I swear, I saw actual joy in her face for the first time in years. Now here's where things get real fun. I made a fake email account, pretending to be my dad, and sent Julia a message. "Change of plans, babe. Instead of the trip, I want to do something special. Come meet me at Hotel Ballroom name at 7 p.m. on Saturday. Bring the kids. I want to introduce you to some people who are important to me." It was perfect. She thought it was going to be a proposal party. Meanwhile, my mom sent out invitations to every single person we knew, but she added a little twist. She wrote, "Come celebrate 20 years of love and commitment. A night of surprises is guaranteed." Which, wasn't technically a lie. We were setting up the most brutal ambush in history. And when the night finally came, oh, it was a massacre. The banquet hall was packed. My dad, of course, had no idea what was about to go down. He was strutting around like a king, shaking hands, making toasts, acting like the perfect husband. My mom played along flawlessly, smiling sweetly at him, keeping him completely clueless. And then, at exactly 7:15 p.m., the doors swung open, and in walked Julia and her kids. At first, my dad was confused. He actually smiled when he saw her, like his brain couldn't process the disaster unfolding in front of him. Then, he looked past her, saw her kids, saw all of us staring at him, and he froze, dead, silent. Julia, on the other hand, was smiling until she saw my mom, until she saw my dad's arm around my mom's waist, until she saw the giant Happy 20th Anniversary banner hanging behind him. It took her exactly 5 seconds to put it all together. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. And then Julia, bless her soul, let out the loudest, "What the F*** I have ever heard in my life. Asterisk asterisk. Absolute chaos broke out. Julia was screaming at my dad, demanding answers. My mom, still smiling, clinked her champagne glass and said, "I'd like to make a toast to my husband and his fiancée." The guests lost it. People were gasping, whispering, pulling out their phones. My dad tried to stammer out an excuse, but there was no coming back from this. His 2 separate lives had collided at full speed, and there was nothing he could do about it. Julia stormed up to my mom, eyes wild, and hissed, "Did you know?" And my mom, still cool as hell, just sipped her drink and said, "Oh, I knew. I just wanted you to know too." I swear, the moment was cinematic. My dad, now fully realizing that his life was over, tried to plead with both women. "Honey, let's just talk about this," he said to both of them. As if that was going to work. Julia grabbed the nearest drink and threw it right in his face. My mom. She just stepped aside and let it happen. By the time the dust settled, Julia had left in tears. My dad had lost every ounce of respect from every single person in that room. And my mom? She turned to me, grinned, and said, "Now that was a party." And that, my friends, is how I helped my mom destroy my father's double life in the most public, humiliating way possible. The divorce? Oh, my mom filed immediately. She took the house, the car, and half of his bank account. Julia cut him off completely. He ended up alone, disgraced, and broke. And me? I sleep like a baby every night knowing that he'll never be able to lie his way out of this one. Revenge? Yeah, revenge was sweet. The party had ended in absolute carnage. People left whispering, recording, spreading the story like wildfire. It wasn't just the guests talking. This thing went everywhere. The next morning, I woke up to my phone blowing up. Cousins, friends, random people I barely talked to. "Dude, what the hell happened last night? Is it true your dad has 2 families? My mom says she always thought he was shady." LMAO. "Bro, tell me you got video." Oh yeah, there was video. Multiple angles. Some legend had recorded the whole disaster and posted it to our town's Facebook group. By noon, the post had thousands of views. And my dad? My dad was done. That morning, he didn't come home. Big surprise. He texted my mom some pathetic, "Let's talk about this" message, but she left him on read. She was already calling divorce lawyers. Julia, meanwhile, had completely erased him. She blocked him on everything, packed up his crap, and kicked him out of her house. Her kids? Devastated. They had just found out their amazing dad wasn't just a cheater. He had a whole other wife and kid. The funniest part? His job found out. See, my dad worked for a pretty well-known company in our area. Turns out, people in his office saw the video, too. And because he was in a position that required a spotless reputation, guess what? They fired his ass. Within 48 hours, my dad lost. His wife, my mom, was hitting him with divorce papers. His second fiancée, Julia, wasn't about to stick around. His house, my mom legally forced him out. His job, turns out, being a lying scumbag doesn't look good to employers. Most of his family, because literally everyone was disgusted. And me? I didn't feel 1 ounce of pity. I wish I could say he learned his lesson, that he apologized and became a better person. But nope. My dad did what every narcissistic man does when caught. He played the victim. He started telling people we ruined his life, that we were the bad guys, that my mom was spiteful, and that I was brainwashed. Bruh, you ruined your own life. It didn't work, though. No one bought his pity act. He was a joke, a walking cautionary tale. When he tried to move in with his parents, they said hell no. Even his own siblings cut him off. By the end of it, the only place he could afford to live was some crappy apartment an hour away. And when he tried to get another high-paying job, his reputation followed him. Turns out, it's hard to bounce back when your entire town knows you as the guy who got exposed for having 2 families in the middle of his anniversary party. Meanwhile, my mom, thriving. She got half his money, the house, and a fresh start. She started working out, going out with friends, even dating again. I had never seen her this happy before. It was like she had been carrying this massive weight for years, and now she was free. And me? I got to live in a drama-free house for the first time in my life. No more wondering if my dad would come home late. No more hearing my mom crying in the bathroom at night. No more faking a perfect family. Just peace. Every now and then, my dad would text me, trying to guilt-trip me, saying crap like, "I'm still your father. You'll understand when you're older." Nah, dude. I understand just fine. You lied. You cheated. You destroyed 2 families. And you thought you'd get away with it. But guess what? You didn't. And that makes me sleep real good at night. The end. So yeah, that's the story of how my mom and I took my dad's perfect little double life and lit it on fire. Would I do it again? Hell yes. So what do you guys think? Anyone else have a story about a cheating parent getting exactly what they deserve?